All right, we'll call the meeting. Well, it says 5:59 on the computer, 6:01 on my computer. The clock looks like it's 6 o'clock, so we'll say that it's 6 o'clock and call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda, roll call.
Nyla Fry.
Here.
Trisha Brown.
Here.
Sam Kaufman. Kristen Runge.
Here.
Aaron Moran. Here. Joe Zisselsberger.
Here.
And Robert McPherson.
Here.
All right, next item is confirmation of open meeting compliance.
I can confirm that the draft agenda was published in the Waunakee Tribune on 2/2. The final agenda was posted in all three official posting locations on 2/1 and 2/2. And the final packet and agenda were made available online on 1/31. Just two things for the audience. Please be sure you sign in on the sign-in sheet with your name. You won't have municipality on there because I have the wrong information sheet, so I apologize for that. For accurate record keeping. And then those interested in participating in public comment, please fill out the form prior to the agenda item and I will call on you.
All right.
Kristen,
next
if I can, one note
Yes,
regarding the
please.
agenda. Today, the village attorney took ill. He's unable to even join us virtually, so poor guy. Although he was needed for agenda item number 6 regarding providing a presentation and then advising you in closed session as well. So my recommendation would be to delete that item from your agenda.
And do we make a motion to do that? And if so, do we do before or after public comment?
You can do that now is fine.
All right. I would make a motion to delete item number 6 from the agenda, discuss and take requests for tax incremental financing assistance, TID 10 from MLG Investments.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on the motion?
I would just note that I see one individual here as an attendee. So that's clear for Dean that there will not be any discussion this evening regarding TID 10 due to the attorney's illness. So have a good rest of your night, Dean.
All right. All right. Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Just, is there anything that we can know about this, just since we have 2 weeks to actually think about it before it comes up again?
Yeah, I don't have a presentation prepared. Brian kind of was staged to present the information.
Yeah.
So to the extent that he can, providing you information sooner than later, prior to a week, a few days before the meeting is something I'll ask him to try to do. Is that okay?
It's all right by me. Yeah. All right, then to the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. All right, back to public comment. Carla, do we have any public comments?
First one is Isaac Drengsfit at 1510 Centennial Parkway, Waunakee.
Hello, I'm Isaac Drengsfit. I live at 1510 Centennial Parkway in Waunakee. I'm the president of the Waunakee Community High School's ECO, and I've been pushing the issue of a sustainability committee for quite some time. I was happy to see a resolution in this week's agenda packet. Although an ad hoc committee was not exactly the goal, we as high schoolers believe a permanent committee will be necessary to make permanent solutions to the dire threats to our futures. We do support the motion this evening. Local governments like the board before me drive the state, country, and world towards a safer and cleaner future. Youth must be represented at decisions and recommendations presented by the Sustainability Committee, which can and will have intense effects on our future careers, families, and lives. Waunakee is our home. We want to be excited to come back as we venture out into the world, and this decision aids in that desire. We want to acknowledge the past work to a more sustainable Waunakee. We are fortunate to have green parks and safe air, efficient energy systems, and more, but this is no excuse to delay nor ignore other climate mitigation policies. You must ensure this committee will have the necessary power to affect real change in our community, economy, and government. The solutions are there and they're needed. Find the citizens who are as energetic about this issue as the teenager who won't stop coming to your meetings. Support their recommendations and initiatives, and maybe even have some fun saving the planet. Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. All right, anyone else, Carla?
Linda Ashmore at 114 South Street, Waunakee.
Hi, Linda Ashmore. I'm here about something that came up at the CDA meeting. And it was a change it sounded like a minor change. And I just want to have some consideration of how that might have implications on the Housing Betterment Fund. So the change was to have a release for photos to be used for marketing purposes. And that would be fine, but I think there should be an opt-out because this is a low-income program and people might be deterred from applying for it, I think, if you don't have that opt-out. So that's my request, is that you have some language included when Brian drafts the language. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And Carla, anyone else?
I have no other comment cards.
Anyone online?
Just we'll take a brief moment. There is one person as an attendee. If you do care to speak during public comments, please click the raise hand button. No hand at this point.
All right. All right, we'll move on from public comment to consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to pull? If not, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the community reports, and the first item on there is the Community Development Authority report. And I'm happy to give that. We discussed the Community Betterment Fund, met Lauren Dietz for the first time in her official capacity. Discussed the Community Betterment Fund, its promotion, some of the requirements, as you referred to, Linda, for applicants, and are looking forward to having that ready to go in April or May. So that was a primary part of our discussion. Next committee, Police Committee.
Police Committee met on Thursday, January 18th. We heard a department update from Chief Kreitzman. Basically, there were about 6 different things here. The first one, calls for service remained high throughout most of the last quarter of 2023. Second one was the department continued to participate in several different community events, play with the police, Girls on the Run, the drug take back program, lots of good stuff. Staffing continues to be an issue. As of the meeting a couple of weeks ago, the department was short 4 patrol staff. There's a couple of new staff that are currently attending the Law Enforcement Academy that started in January, and there's a couple others that are set to return from leaves during Q1. So things are looking good, finally. Continuing a great record, there were no citizen complaints. There was 1 officer compliment in relation to the Citizens Academy and a great ride-along experience that kind of capped that all off. Several use of force incidents, nothing out of the ordinary. They were all reviewed and determined to be, I guess what's the phrase, found to be in accordance with the State of Wisconsin Defense and Arrest Tactics Manual. And then the last one is the department's currently seeking accreditation. As of the department update, the final step had been scheduled for, I think it was January 23rd to the 25th. That had to be postponed at the last minute, so we're waiting for the rescheduled date for that.
All right, thank you very much. Waunakee Committee met, and we are finalizing entertainment and still working on fundraising for the year. It looks like it's going to be a great event. So hopefully by then we will have great weather, as we seem to be on that path already. Library Board.
Yeah, we met a few weeks ago. The library greatly expanded its youth Spanish collection and bilingual materials. So there's a whole new section in the youth area of the library, and the 2023 numbers are in, and there was 286,000 checkouts of physical items, which is up from 2022, and digital circulation was up 18% with over 50,000 items checked out, which is another new record, and another program attendance record was 17,174 attendees in 669 programs. So pretty exciting.
Wow, those are some big numbers. That's great. That is great. Utilities Commission.
Yeah, utilities met on January 22nd. We got an update from the investment advisor, basically a discussion around the returns on the various investments. That's all looking good. We approved some wastewater monitoring services to help determine capacity for any potential future development north of the village. Did receive an update on a Madison Metropolitan Sewage District capacity improvement project. That'll be starting later this year south of the village. Phase 2, which includes basically the southern half of the village-ish. is slated for 2030, and phase 3, which would be the northern part of the village heading towards Dane, is slated for 2040. What else here? We approved an easement near the north substation as a result of a above ground communications cabinet being put in the wrong location. Pretty standard stuff, and got a demonstration of the new outage management software, which hopefully will allow for quicker action and quicker and better identification.
All right, thank you, Joe. Senior Services Committee.
Yeah, the Senior Services Committee, all we really did was we approved the room rental policy for rooms in their facility, as there was no policy previously, and we reviewed the quarterly case management and nutrition reports.
Excellent, excellent. Public Works Committee.
Public Works met on February 1st, and we approved bids for the 2024 Public Works Improvement Project Prospect Road, as well as the Public Works Improvement Project South Street. Included in the packet was some information pertaining to sustainability. And one thing that stood out was the fact that Dane County Stormwater Ordinance has recently been updated to include the 200-year flood event. Therefore, now we are requiring all new ponds that are constructed must retain the larger 200-year recurrence interval. So that's progress. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nyla. Waunakee Fire District.
Chairperson Pulvermacher decided to not have a meeting in the past month, so we did not meet.
All right. It's a lot of committees. All right, next item on the agenda then is presentations, and our first presentation today will be by Isaac Shawaki on the Asahi and Octopi future growth plans in Waunakee and an introduction to Asahi. So we have some special guests here tonight. Welcome, welcome. We look forward to learning.
You wanted the slides first, Isaac?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Great. So thank you, everybody, for having us here. I would introduce a few the people that are here. Victoria is here with us. She'll introduce herself, but she is part of Asahi Europe and International. And then Juan, he's also part of Asahi, but he's going to be moving here to Waunakee pretty soon to help us with a big project going on. But if you haven't read, but there was big news this year. Asahi acquired Octopi on January 3rd. We're now part of Asahi Europe and International. It's very, very exciting. Asahi is the perfect partner for us. And I think not just for Octopi, but also for the village of Waunakee. And I hope you'll see why. And we just wanted to do a little introduction of who is Asahi, what are the plans have for Octopi, and hopefully for our production here in our facility in the US. So I'll introduce now, I'll let Victoria start with the presentation.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you this evening and to be able to come and talk to you about the amazing opportunities we think we have from this deal with Isaac and the team at Octopi. So let me start by just talking a little bit about Asahi. So Asahi is a global company that is based in Japan, but Asahi Europe and International is the division that I'm part of. And we are based in Prague in the Czech Republic, and we cover big scale domestic markets in Central and Eastern Europe. So the Czech Republic, Romania, Italy, UK as some examples. And then the division that I'm responsible for is the international division. So we sell our amazing brands, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about in a minute, into over 45 different countries. But we have some priority focus areas in terms of countries that we really want to build and grow and have great relationships with. And the USA is one of those countries, hence doing the deal with Isaac and the team at Octopi. So our purpose as a global company, but also as Asahi Europe and International, is about creating meaningful connections. And that's why it's such a great opportunity for us to be here with you this evening, so we can start to build those connections and those relationships with you as a local community here. So if we can move on to the next slide, please. Just tell you a little bit about Asahi Europe and International. Again, just a bit of background information for you. So we operate in over 90 different markets. We're in 5 continents. We produce now in 9 countries.
And we have over 19 and now 20 production facilities. We have colleagues, over 10,000 colleagues across Asahi Europe and International. But the one type of production facility that we don't have and didn't have until the 3rd of January was the one like that we have at Octopi now. So really excited about the future potential we have together. If you can move on to the next slide, that's just a visual imprint of the countries that we cover under my business unit in Asahi Europe and International. And these are some of the brands that we have. So I'm hoping maybe a couple of you will have heard of some of them. So we have Asahi Super Dry, which is our kind of flagship brand. And that's the one that we are really looking forward to over time, starting to produce here alongside all of the amazing products that Isaac and the team already produce under the Octopi business. We have Peroni Nastro Zero, which is our Italian heritage beer. And Pilsner Raquel, which for those of you that like fun facts, it's one of the oldest Pilsners in the world. So a little trivia knowledge maybe for you. Kazal is another great product from the Czech Republic, and then Grolsch. And those are the 5 kind of global beer brands that we focus on producing and selling. We also, as importantly, really focus on non-alcoholic beers and products under our portfolio. And again, these are just some of the range, both from a global brand perspective and some of the local brands that we sell within some of our European markets as well. So our philosophy is absolutely about having that full portfolio of brands. You can see the locations of the breweries and the production facilities, cideries as well, actually, just for information, in the UK, for example, that we have under our portfolio. And we have everything from, a very small kind of microbrewery and cidery to some really big scale breweries. But the one thing that underpins all of that is working with the local community and making sure that we're doing things that work for the local community as well as for producing and selling our beer brands. Okay, why Octopi?
Sure, I'll answer that one. There are many reasons, but I think it was, like I said, a perfect match. Like Asahi was looking for a production facility in North America, also to produce beer for Canada. So we're going to be hopefully producing beer for the US market, but also the Canadian market. So we're in the perfect location. They wanted to increase their global brands in the US. Local production, right now, everything gets imported from either Europe and Japan, and that gets very costly, but also it's a lot of carbon emissions. So bringing it here, making it here, it's much more sustainable and more cost effective. And then, of course, fresh beer. If you ship stuff from Japan, it might take a month and a half before it reaches the US. So by the time you get here, it's a little bit older versus we can produce really fresh beer and take it to market pretty soon. And like I said, we're the right place, the right size, with the right capabilities. And then, of course, there's a lot of hopefully big projects that are going to happen to even increase our capabilities and put more money into our production facility. We have a great facility. Hopefully you've seen it. And if you haven't, please come and visit us with, I would say, great people. As of today, we're up to like 250 full-time employees. When we started here 9 years ago, we were 6 employees, including myself. So we've added quite significantly a lot of great people throughout the years. And then we want to be a good partner, local in our community and the market. So I think there was a lot of things that clicked. And then one of the big things that for me really resonated was how deeply they care about sustainability. And Juan is going to do a big presentation of that, because that Octopi, we really care about that. And I think it's going to help us. But Asahi truly cares. And you're going to see it with pretty big goals and hopefully big expansion projects that are going to help us be the most sustainable facility in the Midwest. Cool. Next.
Thank you, everyone, for having us here. It's really exciting to talk about this, and I hear a lot about sustainability. So just tell you a little bit about my personal story of why I'm here. I am part of the central engineering team in the main office in Prague, and I work in sustainability as I'm responsible for delivering some of the environmental goals of the company in the breweries in Europe. And I was part of the team that came to do a technical evaluation of Octopi, and I fell in love with the place. So now I'm going to be moving here, being part of the transition team. So it's really exciting. And it's very exciting also that we come to this meeting and we hear about sustainability. And I really liked the presentation earlier by Isaac on that. So I think that we have a lot to do and we can do it together. So that's really great. What you see here is actually our Legacy 2030. So these are our big environmental goals that govern basically what we do across Asahi Europe and International, and they're part of the main goals of the overall company across the globe. We don't focus only on carbon emissions. We don't only focus on the environment, but part of our sustainability also has to do with people. There's inclusion, well-being, and responsible choices. That's something that we also work and is very important for us. So today I will talk to you about a little bit about how these goals are going to be translated to Octopi, because Octopi is now part of the group of breweries. So we'll have to update those slides from before. And we're going to see how some of these goals will be reflected in our project now of integration. Before that, just a little bit of accomplishments of the company. We don't do this just to show off. We don't do this because we want to be in the news. We do this because it's a company that actually really cares about this, and we want to be leaders, and we want to motivate the industry, and we want to motivate other players. And thanks to that, we have received some recognition, and this recognition is simply telling us that we are doing the right thing, and that we have a lot more to do. Hopefully, part of this recognition is going to come through our presence in Waunakee, through Octopi, and hopefully we're going to see some of this, and hopefully we're going to do it together. So at Octopi, first of all, we're going to focus a lot on our 2030. By 2030, we need to have all of our breweries carbon neutral. And for that, we're going to have a big part of the investment focus on how to reduce emissions of Octopi, how to source clean energy, and how to valorize waste. We have different technologies, different initiatives that we are implementing in all of our breweries, and we're bringing that here. And there are also very interesting programs, initiatives, and startups and technologies that are emerging in the US. So we're going to make use of all that to make sure that we have a carbon neutral site by 2030, which I think actually we can make it before that. So that's going to be even better. We have a little bit of competition now with the other sites. So they're a little bit jealous of us. Water is a key pillar for us. And just to give you some background, in some of our breweries in Europe, we are experiencing serious water scarcity issues. We went through every 5 years, we do a risk assessment of our water resources and the watershed where we're located. And we have been very surprised about the trends in water availability, water quality in some of the countries where we operate, where actually when you look at a country from the outside, one example is the Netherlands, where everyone thinks that there's water everywhere. Actually, is not the case anymore. So this is a big concern. And one of the things that we do for that is to reduce as much as possible one of our most precious raw materials, which is water. So we reduce the consumption, and we have a goal that we measure in terms of how much water do we use per beer that we pack. And Octopi is going to be part of that. For that, then we have some investment to do in water conservation, technology solutions, and creating awareness within our workforce. And that's something that I open up that we can do also together. I know that water here we don't face the same risks or the same issues, but better to be prepared and better to work with our students, for example, with our community in awareness programs. And then a third pillar is going to be focused on waste. We're going to do a lot of waste valorization and hopefully work on external collaboration. We have a big target, which is that we have to have zero waste to landfill across all of our operations by 2030. In some places, it's very easy. In some countries, it's really easy because the countries have already infrastructure for that. But believe it or not, there are some other countries where this is a big problem. And waste valorization is going to be linked to renewable energy and other water solutions to have water reuse, for example. So these are some of the things that we are going to do. So to be producing the beers that Victoria showed you, we're going to add some brewing capabilities. We're going to add a new line to be able to produce all the new brands and to increase the volume that we expect. We're going to do some improvements in safety. We have very strict standards across all of our breweries, so we're going to bring that into Octopi and improve some of. We're going to impact a lot the way that we produce today. So we have to do that in a way that is safe for our employees. We are going to talk about wastewater treatment or pre-treatment and valorization of this wastewater to produce energy. That's a big one, actually. Upgrades to our utility systems, and there's a big focus also on automation, cybersecurity for lean manufacturing, and to be able to have better control over our production.
Before we do the Q&A, I don't know if we can do the video, and then we'll do
Yeah.
the Q&A.
If we want to have a world that will survive and thrive for future generations, then we have to get on top of the damage that we've done as humanity over the last decades.
Sustainability has come to mean the way in which we interact our business with the planet and how we actually solve the problems of the planet through the business and not create more problems for the planet through business. It's absolutely fundamental to what we do.
I want people to stop talking about it with a tone of voice that somehow sustainability is incompatible with good business. It's simply not.
Sustainability is at the core of everything we do at Asahi. It's not just about the joy we create with our drinks for our consumers and customers. It's also about creating meaningful connections with the planet, creating meaningful connections with people, and finally creating a legacy that we can be proud of.
So we have some very bold and widely communicated commitments around sustainability, communicated both internally but also importantly externally.
Our focus is to be carbon neutral in all our breweries by 2030, to reduce our Scope 3 emissions by 30%,
By 2030, our water usage will be no more than 2.75 litres per litre of beer produced. By 2030 also, all of our packaging will either be recyclable or reusable. And by 2030, all of our raw materials will be sourced from sustainable sources.
So everything that we are planning to achieve in long term translates into everything that we need to do today and in the short term.
We created our Legacy 2030 sustainability strategy in order to fully embed sustainability into every area of our business, into every decision made in every department. People are at the heart of this.
We are working with everybody to ensure that we are on this journey to carbon neutrality, but at the same time, with our consumers, with other stakeholders, partners, suppliers, we do everything to inspire much more, which is the planet positivity.
So sustainability means everything. It's not something that we should be doing to enable our strategy. It has to be the strategy. Sustainability has to be embedded in every decision we make.
Great. So now we can open it for Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we would love to answer.
All right. Thank you very much. The video, the presentations, welcome to Waunakee. We're excited to have you here. Board, what questions do we have? None? Certainly, we've got a question or two. No? So the company's already been purchased. You're beginning these when, if we were to check in with you 6 months from now, what would we expect to hear and what can we do to support some of the changes, particularly towards sustainability?
Yeah, sure. I think, yeah, go for it. I think 6 months from now, there's not gonna be much change. We're gonna be in the process of integration. I think the big changes start coming towards the end of this year when we start putting our new equipment, hopefully, and our new expansion plans in place. And then the big changes, and the big changes start coming, I would say, late Q4 of this year into Q1 of 2025. So everything takes a little bit of time, but we're working pretty hard to make sure that that happens as soon as possible.
So I think what you won't see in 6 months' time is a huge amount of work that's going to be going on behind the scenes. The work that Juan and the team are going to be doing, the work that the Octopi team are going to be doing, the work that's going to be supported from our central teams based over in Europe, and the existing Asahi US team that were part of my team prior to the acquisition. So that's a bit that you won't see. As Isaac said, what you will start to see from really, I think, kind of Q3, so September onwards, is some of the investment actually starting to come to fruition. So you'll start to see some of the equipment come in, some of the new tanks come in, new brew house, for example, and a lot of the work around the sustainability agenda as well. So we are absolutely committed and would love to be giving you regular updates. And so we can go on this journey together, as both Isaac and Juan have said.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
I guess it's less of a question, maybe a little bit of them, but just a recognition of Isaac and your vision and what you've grown Octopi to be and what it means for Waunakee from the little tiny startup that it was at the beginning to having a global company like Asahi. Looking at you, but also looking at Waunakee, I think that really can't be underestimated as how impactful that is and how cool it is. But curious, as you looked at Octopi as a business, so as you looked at Waunakee and even the region, kind of things that maybe stand out, whether it's, these are things that really drew us to it, or these are things maybe we want to work with the community on or work with the regional partnership on, just to, if there's concerns or anything like that as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So what attracted us to Octopi, there were a number of reasons. So I think you alluded to the first one. So the journey that Isaac has gone on to build the business of Octopi, over the last 10 years has been nothing short of phenomenal. And, we've talked a lot about this evening about the experience and the information that we can bring in here. But we're also really keen to learn from the journey that Isaac and the team have been on. We think genuinely we have a lot to learn too. So that was reason number one. I think reason number two, from a location perspective, this really worked for us because we have quite quite a significant business in Canada that we want to grow as well, as you know, supporting our business in the US. So I think location was certainly a factor. You know, when we were going through the process of understanding whether Octopi was going to be the right fit or not, understanding from Isaac how he's worked with you and the support that he's got from you as a community, again, was a really important factor in our decision making. So I think there's lots of benefits that hopefully we can bring, but lots of learnings that we can take from Isaac, from you as a community as well. So yeah, hopefully this is the start of many presentations and conversations we're going to be having with you.
Nyla.
I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing how you progress, and I know you'll make your sustainability goals, and I just want to be there and watch you do it along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe.
Carbon neutral by 2030 is a fantastic goal, very respectable. I'm curious if that includes any sort of carbon offset credits, or if that is.
Yeah, so our goals are science-based target goals, and we have opted for a certification that is with the British Standards Institute, BSI, and we are only, based on this certification, we are only allowed to use 10% of our remaining emissions as offsets. As a company, we don't really endorse that, and that's not what we want to do, and we want to work towards real solutions. So the 10% would be probably related to certain areas of the operations that are still very difficult to decarbonize. Part of it is going to be on scope 3, which is related to transport, for example, logistics. That's something that we cannot do alone. We are depending on others. For scope 1 and 2, which is related to our operations, let's say our manufacturing process, I think we're pretty confident that we will find the solutions. I mean, there are solutions already. It's more a matter of understanding brewery by brewery, what is the best mix, makes sense from a technology standpoint and financial, of course. But yeah, we don't really, we try to stay away from that.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming tonight, for presenting, sharing your time, and looking forward to continuing the conversation and watching this grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and continuing our theme of sustainability today, our next presentation is going to be representatives from Sustain Dane regarding the village membership and the programs and benefits that come along with that.
And I told Claire and Spencer that if they expect us to join their organization, they have to come at the very next meeting
And they
and
did.
tell us they did. But it's a good meeting for you both to be at. I assume you enjoyed the presentation you just saw. But thank you for joining us. We're interested in hearing a bit more about your organization and how we can mutually benefit one another as a municipal member.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. And I did really enjoy the presentation. You were right. You said, make sure to be here. You're going to enjoy it. Let me share my screen and we'll get started here. All right. Look good to everyone. All right, great. My name is Claire Olekshak. I'm the executive director of Sustain Dane. Sustain Dane is a nonprofit. We have been around for about 20 years, working in more or less Dane County as our main focus area. However, some of our programs have extended to other parts of Wisconsin as well as across the US. Our mission is to inspire, connect, and support individuals to accelerate sustainability and equity for community well-being. And that's a mouthful, but we take that really seriously. I'm going to talk through a bit about what we do and some ways that I hope that we'll have a chance to work together going forward. So we have a board of directors which governs us like most nonprofits, and this is our staff team. And the kind of 7 of us plus interns that join us in the summer run the programs at the organization. When we talk about sustainability, we look at this really holistically. And I'm really glad we were going after Octopi and Asadi because the way that they also were talking about their sustainability initiatives is this framework, right? It's about, the people, it's about the planet, and it's about the profit. So it's environmental health, and environmental health is supporting the people, right? The social well-being, the equity in our community, and supporting that just economy. And you'll see through our programs, we talk about these intersections as we're trying to move towards well-being overall. The UN describes sustainability as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And that's another way to think about this balance. And I think a lot of the reasons how we come to sustainability is thinking about leaving things better for the next generation. So Dane County Office of Energy and Climate Change released their climate action plan in 2020. And the goals for that plan was to have a 50% reduction by 2030 and then have a county that is net zero by 2050. And the research they've done and the work they're continuing to do has been a really good way to unite us all, I think, and to benchmark and to help us grow as both individual communities and together as a county. There's a number of municipalities that are working on their sustainability plans or updating their sustainability plans. We've been involved with a number of these. Madison right now is updating their plan, Middleton, Sun Prairie, Fitchburg, Stoughton, Mount Horeb, and Waunakee, I think we added to this list when I update the presentation as you guys launch your ad hoc committee and also begin this work. And we're also happy to connect you with those other organizations. I'm sure many of them you are working with and ways that we've been involved to help support those works. Programs at Sustain Dane. So what kind of stuff do we do? So there is a lot of different areas, and we really try to sum it up by saying we're working on helping people learn, helping people connect, and then take action. Kind of those three components are part of what we do with our work. So the first big bucket is around education. So that is education around climate solutions. This could be, learning about current topics, right? So, our learning about air quality was a program we did last year because it was very topical, right? We have a program coming up about the concept of kind of climate healing or climate anxiety, topics that we're hearing from the community that they're interested in, they want to learn more. We are always learning, right, as individuals and as a community. So offering that education. We also do specific topics. So we have a training specifically on recycling, right? We have a training specifically on water stewardship. So there'll also be kind of topic specifics areas we do. The next one is energy efficiency in affordable housing. This has been a program that's been growing over the last probably 4 years. We are fortunate to be able to offer a program that is from the beginning of a building being interested in upgrading, a multifamily upgrading. We are able to take care of the funding for an energy assessment, for prioritizing what measures will have the biggest impact, and paying contractors to install efficiency measures. We've been able to work in over 100 units, and we've been able to reduce the burden to residents about $500 annually. So it's been a huge part of continuing to look at our housing and find ways to make it more affordable. And then the last one is in food waste reduction and increasing recycling. This is both in the community with drop-off sites, like you see that picture at the bottom, as well as we doing work in schools. So for education for climate solutions, I like to share this slide and just kind of take a moment for people to kind of think about themselves and their own experiences about interest in climate or sustainability, because we find that people come to this work from all sorts of different areas. For some people, it's a personal connection, maybe connection to the outdoors they've had or thinking about the future generation that they want to improve. For others, it's in a professional setting. We work a lot with businesses, and we help businesses do kind of a comprehensive thinking through where they may have opportunities to implement sustainability plans or initiatives, and then connecting them with the resources and those tools. Resilience is a topic that we are now talking a lot about as well, right? The changes that we are seeing with more extreme weather events, right? How do we be a more resilient community to adapt to those? And then equity being part of all of this work and thinking about how we are making sure that we are equitably moving forward. With the energy efficiency and affordable housing, these are usually smaller buildings, say in the like 4 units, 8 units that have oftentimes been left out of incentive programs, or the smaller owners of them are not able to put in the time or the money to move the projects forward. It's also an incredibly important part of our affordable housing sector. About 30 to 40% of the affordable housing in Dane County is what we call this naturally occurring affordable housing, so unsubsidized housing, and a really important part of we look at our housing market. So the program began, we had our first round of funding available in Madison. We've expanded to Middleton, and then this year we'll also be adding Fitchburg into the program. For food waste and reduction, so food is considered the second highest priority by an organization called Project Drawdown, which is an international organization that talks about what are actions we can take to reduce carbon, actually get to the point of drawing it down. And food is number 2 on their list. And that includes things like reducing the amount of food that's wasted. So that's, both feeding other people with that food and going down to composting it, so regenerating soil. There's also ways to incorporate more plant-based meals into into the weekly diets that people have, and also thinking about the resource management that goes with all of the agricultural. So the transportation and supporting local food and just the whole system of that. So our food reduction, it has included work in schools and working in cafeterias with kids, which is so rewarding, as well as also we had drop-off sites that we started at farmers markets as a place for people to bring their food waste. And we had about 18,000 pounds of food waste from 2 sites that got removed out of the landfill and sent to Neighborhood Food Solution Farm in Fitchburg. As you guys probably saw the news, really exciting that Dane County is expanding their sustainability campus to accept food scraps, and the opportunity to remove that from our landfill. Up to about 30% of our landfill is food waste. So as we think about the expansion of our landfill and then being able to maintain that as our next landfill, taking the food and turning it into compost will be a way so that we can maintain that site longer and not have to continue expanding our landfill. And then also increasing recycling and reuse, right? Looking at those materials, people have a lot of questions. And we hope that, through our programs, both our Recycle Better education series, as well as just our ongoing resources, we help people get those answers so that they can feel confident and can help others also feel confident with the recycling programs. So taking action for sustainability with us looks different if you're an individual or a business or a municipality or nonprofit. But what I love about Sustain Dane is that all of those different sectors come together. And it's really a magical place to come to some of our programs because of these intersections that are happening and these conversations that are happening and the sharing and learning. So these are a couple pictures from our quarterly breakfast series, which I mentioned. Through membership, your committee and staff is able to attend those complimentary and both learn from them as well as engage with others there. We also do record them, and those recordings can be shared with others within the Waunakee community that are interested in the programs. All around Dane County is where we go to municipalities across Dane County and really just serve as a host for those local leaders to come together. Our next one is going to be in Monona. And you see the list here of the other communities we've been in. We would very much welcome opportunity to host a all around Dane County in Waunakee. And it sounds like you guys have a lot of great stuff going on, especially with the presentation we just saw to going to bring the Waunakee community together and just talk about what you guys are doing and highlight what's happening in Waunakee. We have a one-day workshop that has a lot of business participants called Accelerate Sustainability Workshop. That's about getting those kind of plans together for case studies and then action within businesses and organizations. Recycling program I talked about, water stewards program as well. And then we have, a number of volunteer events or, social events as well. And then I'm gonna stop sharing this, and then I will share a video as well that we can conclude that I hope will kind of summarize everything I've talked about and then be available for questions. So.
And Claire, you just let us know when you want us to reserve the tap room at Octopi for your.
Oh, right. I was hoping you were going to say that. All right, here we go. And please holler if any noise or inability to hear it.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, great. Oh, there we go. All right. So that's what I have for the presentation, and I would love to answer any questions you guys have.
Thank you, Claire. That was wonderful. It's really inspirational to see everything that's going on around the county, and I'm excited that we get to be a part of it. And Nyla, I think you were the one that made the motion and suggested we join. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Questions, comments? Yes.
Have you ever attended a kickoff meeting, a new committee starting to give your presentation and energize them?
We attend a lot of committee meetings and green team meetings for businesses, and we'd be happy to do that for you guys as well. For Sun Prairie, we were involved a bit with their committee. I don't think it was their kickoff meeting, but we were part of their committee meetings.
Thank you.
Other questions? Joe?
This is more of a curiosity thing, I think. In the video, there was a section where I talked about the 7 air quality monitors that have been installed. There were other numbers on that map. What were those?
I'll have to look at the slide again if the numbers were like the numbers assigned to the air quality monitor, or was it the number, was the number like a 1 or a 7, or was the number like
No,
105?
I think there was a 35 in there and
Something like that.
threw me off.
Yeah, so there are more than those 7 monitors that exist in Dane County, so it may have to do with where it got placed. But I can get back to you specifically with what the number was.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we did that program with Latino Academy of Workforce Development and their leadership. They have a leadership academy that wanted to focus on air quality and recycling. So the women in that program decided where to place the monitors in their community. And then when the Canadian wildfires came, they really became the leaders to talk about, how you could use these monitors, what you learn from them, if you have asthma, what you might want to consider for not spending as much time outside during those air quality events. It's one of my favorite programs that we worked on last year.
Yeah, last summer that was very useful.
Sure was. Yeah, other questions, other comments?
On the efficiency navigator, what does a municipality need to do to participate in that?
So we should set up a meeting and talk. To begin the program, we would probably do a bit of a stakeholder initiative to figure out, what type of numbers of housing you have that would fit in that category, and just kind of what the affordable housing space looks like. And then with the other municipalities, we received funding initially through grants. We received one through the Public Service Commission, and then ARPA funding used the second year that was designated for this work. Fitchburg is actually using TIF funding for their support of this program. And then this next year, Madison will also have capital dollars to help support it. We also have philanthropic money, though, that does contribute to this. So some of that initial stakeholder work would not necessarily require a large grant. We could kind of figure out what a scope might look like to get the research done and kind of start understanding impact that could happen in Waunakee around that program.
Thank you.
Robert, I had a similar question. I leaned over to Lauren and said, make that call, follow up, because there may be a good dovetail with our Betterment Housing Fund program that we're kicking off. So could be a good alignment there.
Yeah, likewise. I think it's a big star on a couple of our sheets. Other questions that we've got? I think that's all for now, Claire, but you'll be hearing probably from us quite a bit over the next few months as we get up and running, and then ongoing as we get established as a community that's working towards sustainability.
Well,
So
thank you guys for inviting us, and thank you so much for your commitment for sustainability and launching the committee.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is continuing with the theme of the night, discuss and take action on a resolution honoring World Migratory Bird Day. It's page 58 of your agenda.
I'm really glad that you just get to see a little part of village staff team at your typical meetings. I'm really glad today that we have Jeff and Janelle here to show you that there's a lot of other great people working in our organization to do a really good thing. So Jeff, you're first. I know they're like, Todd, don't make us talk, but I'm really glad. I'm glad they're here because I think it's great for you to see other components of our team. So let me share your screen. Jeff's like, Todd, just the faster the better, right? Here we go.
All right, so Waunakee joined Bird City, Wisconsin in 2018 as a way to continue to create and preserve habitat for birds.
Or half a bird.
Yeah, or half a bird.
Sorry.
So some of the quick achievements that we've had, the big ones that we started even prior to Bird City was the Bowles Conservancy restoration, the Rip Park Prairie creation, Village Park Rain Garden, and then our annual tree planting. Those are all pretty big list items that we continue to do on an annual basis. Next. And then every year we have to celebrate World Migratory Bird Day is, so through the years, we've done a few different projects. We built eastern bluebird nesting boxes and then installed them throughout the village. We planted a lot of trees with different groups from the high school. And we also had an educational program at Prairie Elementary, where we had a bird expert come in and talk to us about birds. So that's it.
Need to adopt your So with that, then we need the a motion to adopt the migrant.
Yes. All right. I would make a motion to approve the reissuance of the International Migratory Bird Day Resolution.
I'll second it.
Right. Fully seconded, firmly seconded. Any discussion? I was seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Before Jeff escapes, are there any questions for Jeff? And sorry.
Go ahead.
See.
I'd just like to say thank you for all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful. Thank you.
Just want to add one thing. Jeff is also our certified arborist. He's gone through school and now is working and taking care of our trees as well.
Congratulations.
Thank
You've
you.
been busy
Yeah.
this year. Very busy.
Yes.
Thank you. It looks good. So, all right. Next item on the agenda is to discuss and take action on the Monarch Pledge Resolution.
Got my slide,
Yep,
Tab,
I'm
working on it.
whoop, let me stop that one. Sorry.
Oh, very good.
I just want to show that numbers, parts per million, 10-minute average parts per million.
Is my screen coming up, Jared? Oh, never mind. I got it here. All right, there you go, Janelle. How can it scroll along as
Scroll all the way up.
all the way
Can
up?
you?
Okay.
There you go. Sorry, it's a little large, I guess. That'll work though. Hi, everyone. I'm Janelle Ranke and I work for Public Works Department here in Waunakee for almost 10 years now. And for the last few years, I've been part of the Mayor's Monarch program. And I'm here to give you some more information about that program and our involvement in it. The Mayor's Monarch Pledge is a National Wildlife Federation program where communities across the United States, Canada, and Mexico pledge to restore, conserve, and sustain monarch and pollinator habitat. To be considered for this program, we must commit to at least 3 out of the 30 action items or goals that the Mayor's Monarch Pledge has on their website. And then at the end of the year, you need to report back to the online and just check off the completed action items that you did. Once you have completed at least 3 of the action items, you receive a certificate at the end of the year for the program. If you scroll down, I highlighted a couple of the action items and goals that we are looking to do this year. The easy check off one tonight will be the new proclamation and resolution signed by the president. And then the next one would be number 15 and 19 kind of go hand in hand, but I hope to partner with the Village Center this year and do a program with the kids to pick seed from Bowles Conservancy and plant some plants, some prairie plants. I'm not sure location wise yet, but we'll figure that out. And then number 22, I am going to look into getting some more educational signs put out at Bowles Conservancy or Rip Park Prairie this year. Next slide, you can scroll all the way down. And yeah, there's 30 action items. You have to complete at least 3 every year to complete the program. You can pick more. But you have to have at least 3 to have completed the program. This is some of the completed programs we did, our projects. In spring of 2015, we did a half-acre plot out at Rip Park Prairie. It was a complete restoration of the grassland. It was mainly just all grass, so we killed everything off, tilled everything, planted native prairie seed, and added 266 native wildflower plugs. I'm very proud of this project. If anyone has never been up there yet, you should check it out this summer. It's really, really beautiful. And then I also added some Monarch educational signs out there with little QR codes and stuff that people can check out. In spring of 2016, we did a complete restoration of the water detention area on the corner of South Madison and South Division Street. This area was mainly all weeds when I looked at it. And it's a rainwater inlet that catches rainwater, and it's thriving now. So we really like that project. 66. And sorry, the things that are in parentheses are where I bought the prairie plants or bought some of the seed. The Bowles Conservancy hillside restoration. When we first got to this area, it was just doing very poorly and very sparse. So we added a bunch of prairie plants to the area to fill it in. And that was in the spring of 2016. And then in spring of 2022, I applied for free milkweed plants through the Monarch Watch program. And then I received 164 milkweed plants that I distributed throughout some of our main prairies that were kind of in need of more milkweed.
For those who don't know, Janelle, can you explain why milkweed is an important plant?
Yeah,
related to
so
monarchs?
milkweed is the host plant for monarchs, that they need that to survive, and yeah, we need it.
Is that where they do they lay their eggs?
Yep.
On
Yeah,
the,
they lay the eggs, and then all the caterpillars eat only monarch or milkweed leaves.
Right.
And then in fall of 2022, I partnered with the Village Center and held a prairie restoration event with the volunteers from the community. We collected prairie seed at Bowles Conservancy and then spread the seed and 64 prairie plants, native prairie plants at Rip Park Prairie. It was the 35 by 35 foot plot that you can kind of see in the background there, that I had gotten prepared in the summer before the event happened, but that was a fun little event. This was our first event that we kind of put out to the community if they wanted to help. And so you can kind of see the group was kind of small, but the next picture is a little bit better. And then in the fall of last year, we did a 70 by 10 foot plot, kind of by the new library, North Madison Street area along that path. We also partnered with the Village Center and held a prairie restoration program and collected seed from Bowles Conservancy, and then spread the seed and the native plants that I bought in this area by the library. And then with that, there's always the continued efforts in maintaining these areas. I mean, we work on that throughout the whole year. We remove invasive species from the prairies, and then we do our controlled burns when needed. Next slide, I just wanted to show the certificate that we gained last year. So this is the certificate. If you complete at least 3 of the goals or action items, then we'll receive that at the end of the year.
Oh, I'm blushing because this should say Janelle and not me.
Well, it's the mayor's Monarch Pledge, so I'm just the staff point of contact, so
You're
it's
just the
okay.
person that's doing all of the work.
It's okay.
That's all,
It's all
right?
right. It's okay.
So-
I also made a Facebook page if you want to check it out, Waunakee Monarchs. Yeah, no, very original, right? But I try to add some educational info, and then if we have future events, I would put that on there. I also added the Mayor's Monarch Pledge website. You can go there and check out if you want more information about that. And then also, if you have any other further questions or want to help in any way, please feel feel free to reach out to me. That's it.
All right, Nyla.
It's wonderful that you're including the public in planting because bringing in young people will have many rewards for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Other comments?
First of all, like Jeff and Janelle have any problem with public speaking, please.
Well,
Doing better than we do. I did want to sort of shout out to Aaron. Aaron helped launch the Monarch Pledge and encourage the Monarch Pledge. I think you're involved in some of the committee's work as that progressed early on too, to get things rolling.
Yep. Thank you.
This is amazing, the work that you all do. So thank you very much. All right, do we have anyone who would like to make a motion?
I'll move we reissue the Monarch Pledge resolution.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you guys very much for all of the work that you do. All right, next item on the agenda, discuss and take action on resolution creating an ad hoc sustainability committee.
Well, at the board's request, this resolution has been brought forward to you for your consideration. This isn't a statutory committee. There isn't state law that tells you how you have to form it, how big it has to be, how small it has to be. This is entirely your prerogative for how you care to design it. I'll share that Jared helped in putting together a draft resolution. Isaac actually also had sent a draft that was consulted, and we shipped it off to Kristen, and I know you took a stab at it as well. So that's before you to consider this evening. Once complete, then staff will kick off a process for putting out a recruitment call for potential members that you could then consider at a future meeting for appointment.
All right. So what discussion do we have on the resolution? Anybody like to start discussion? Nyla.
I think that Trustee McPherson had suggested that 3 members of the Village Board of Trustees be on this committee. And we had talked about having 2 student members on the committee. And I would like to strongly say that I would like to see members who become part of this committee to be people who are energetic, motivated, and honestly care about sustainability, so that the time that is put into this will be used in a positive way, and we will make some in-depth educational decisions that will affect our future for a very long time. Thanks.
Thank you, Nyla. Other comments? Yes.
If I can, one note about the appointments. The board will have full authority to choose who you care to appoint. The key will be to tap the right shoulders and encourage people to apply so they're before you for consideration. So, we can't force people in. So that's my urge for the board and the community in general, is to encourage those you think you would like to have on the committee, and then that's your prerogative for those appointments.
Yeah. All right. Other comments? Aaron.
Just, I guess wanted to clarify, because I didn't see in there, these are people appointed, this will be on this through its existence. This isn't a yearly thing like our other committees for 2 years.
They'll serve the 24 months.
They'll serve, okay.
Yeah, I think we need to say a consistent theme across, unless there would be a reason that they would need to resign if something comes up or whatnot. Yeah. Other questions or comments?
I want to echo what Trustee Fry stated there. We should look to have 3 members, since it is ad hoc, that are from the board, just because there's the ability to take action from it and makes it more likely. I also agree, much like we had 2 student members on the housing study, we should have 2 student members within this definition that's proposed. It's a great definition, because I know that when I met with Isaac, I had said, let's make sure we're including MCDS in this as well. It's not just the high school, Waunakee Community High School. where I was missing here, and I apologize because I think I'm a little under the weather today. Do we define within the resolution how, I know we're defining when we want progress reports. Are we defining how frequently we want it to meet
I believe it was 6-month intervals for
For progress
reports.
reports.
for progress reports, but how frequently does the committee meet?
Oh,
I think we didn't spell it out, but I was assuming at least monthly because that's just kind of our cadence with all of our committees.
Okay.
Should this committee form though and determine that they want to meet more often, I don't know that we would stand in front of them for that. I'm looking at you, Todd, because that would be your staff responsibility to staff it.
that's true. Typically, if not specified in the code, and I mean, that would really be an odd thing to force upon a committee. Sometimes circumstances make them unable to meet or more frequently. So I would lay it out there as a call. The chair would be the approach. In other words, the chair instructs staff on the meeting frequency, meeting agenda, and process.
And I wasn't trying to imply they should meet more than a month. I was just making sure it was at least monthly, not like quarterly or anything like that.
Oh, I see.
No, the intent wouldn't be to slow walk anything here. I think 24 months is a pretty compacted time frame for the scope of work. But it is probably the initial scope of work as well. 2 committee members, I'll address that because I know you had brought that up earlier. I was thinking when I was discussing this, that 2 is a lighter load on the board. If it is the will of the board that we have 3 and we have 2 students, that I would think would be fine.
I guess
I
the
don't-
only,
do you have
the
any
only thing I would
worries
add
with
is, does that then lead us to talk about whether there should be a 9-person group? So you afford more room and capacity for others in the community?
You mean go from 4 to 9 residents?
No, go from a 7-member committee to a 9-member committee.
But if we added a board member and a second student, that would bring us to 9, right?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. All right. I was imagining those numbers, a 3 and the 2 within the total 7-member committee.
Okay.
I was suggesting a 9-member.
Okay, understood.
9.
That's your call on that.
All right. Other comments?
Just to finish my comment, so I just want to clarify, you said that the board would be, it's going to go through the standard committee process of they do the application, then they come to Kristen and then she recommends to the board?
Yeah.
Oh, the appointments.
Yeah.
Yes. The way in which appointments are made is identified within our code. So that would be, it comes through as an appointment from the village president to be confirmed by a majority of the village board.
I just wanted to clarify because you said that we would get to vote on, but that's what you meant is that we would
Yes.
vote after Kristen makes their selections.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Other comments or questions? Joe?
So a couple of things as far as the makeup of this goes. Do we want to, I'm confident that at this point, 2 student members will not be a problem to find. At some point in the future, it would be great if we'd solved everything sustainable and there was no real need. I guess my question is, do we want to specify 2 student members or do we want to say 3 village trustees and 6 others, at least one of which is a student? Giving more flexibility in that choice.
Yeah.
I mean, if there happen to be 3 students who are fantastic for it, this theoretically could say you got to pick 2. So that's why
We could say a minimum of 2 students. And I think that this one is going to be empowered for 24 months. And then the future, if we make it a standing committee, then we probably revisit the idea of
True.
who's going to be on it, what's the makeup and what's the charge after that? Because it might, who knows, it might change. We might solve all the problems in 24 months, right?
But
Yeah.
there'll
That's
be new
optimism.
problems.
There'll be new problems, completely new problems. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And then the second thing was the 24 months. Is that term starting from the formation of this, or is that going to sync up with the rest of our committee assignments?
Good
I guess if you were to
question.
ask me, I would date that from the date of its first meeting.
So they
Okay.
have 24 months to do their work. Yeah, that feels reasonable.
And then, well, it could be 24 months plus up to May, I guess, or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, something like that. Just so that we're ultimately, hopefully syncing it with the rest of the appointments would seem to make sense. So maybe it's a 27-month appointment or something initially.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Does that mean the student members, like, do we need to time it where they're younger? Like, maybe we just say 5 residents and then 1 student member. I don't know.
Good question.
The
I
student
don't
member
necessarily
may
think you
evolve.
have to time it because, you know, you have 2, well, if one graduates, then you can appoint another one. That's why it's good to have more than one, because then you may lose that knowledge midway through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our expectation then would be that for at least the students, they wouldn't necessarily be serving a 24-month term till they graduate and move on to college, or graduate and remain here for the summer.
Yeah, they may be in school around here. Like, it would be no different, I guess, if someone moved one of the other residents or something. But
But if they graduated and still stayed living here, they no longer necessarily qualify as the students. So then unless we've lost a resident,
yeah.
now which kind of goes back to my original question of, do we want to make that more flexible?
I think if you just write the language of at the time of appointment, like they're at an accredited,
that's fair.
at the time of appointment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
fine with 3 members of the village board. I think that's, if there are enough interested members of the board. Yeah, I think we have, just the number of members on the board does not dictate like how much we care about this committee or other committees, so.
All right. So I'm feeling there's consensus around 3 members, 2 students at the time of appointment, 9 members total. Beginning, the first meeting that they meet is the start of their 24-month run. But should that end not sync up to the appointment time? I mean, we will probably start them in March, April. I'm imagine.
It'll depend on how quick we can
Yeah.
get the applicants, how quick action is taken to appoint them, and proceed with the process of getting meetings noticed and getting stuff started. I would say not every committee necessarily runs the exact same schedule. There are some differences due to state law. In this case, there's no rule that is going to force you to sync it up with anything necessarily. So I'm not sure you necessarily would need to feel the need to hem yourself in to our standing schedule of appointments, for what it's worth.
All right. All right, other comments? Are we accepting all of our suggestions as friendly edits then?
I'll move
I'm sorry, so which I hear being to
Compensation
confirm,
needed to be done.
Oh.
3 board members, upon initial appointment, 2 members shall be students, and for a total committee of 9.
And I think we wanted at least, the language at least 2 students, just in case.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I thought it was on. We need the language to say at least 2 students.
okay, understood.
Compensation, Trisha. Yeah.
No, that was a question from staff that they wanted to address or get some clarification or direction from the board, is whether or not we were fine with this being not a compensated participation.
Which has been our habit with
Yeah.
ad hoc
Yeah.
boards, but it doesn't have to be the way you proceed here. It's your standing committees that where the members receive the compensation has been our practice.
I feel comfortable not having compensation.
Yeah, agreed.
That feels easier by quite a bit. All right. That question answered. All right.
Yeah,
Any
as long as it's specified in your motion, because our code language is empty on the topic, so clarification would help.
All right. All right. Do we have anyone who'd like to make a motion?
I'll move we approve the resolution as drafted and edited, and to specify that ad hoc committee members will not be compensated for participation.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Look at us. See, we're cooking with gas, but we're cooking on an induction stove that's powered by solar today. So discuss and take action. I've had too much caffeine. Discuss and take action on selection of firm to complete the Waunakee Area Fire Department. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Discuss and take action on communication logistics with committee members, page 67 of your packet.
And Jared's performed research on this item. He'll take it for you tonight.
Sorry, I'm just trying to bring it up here on my computer. Okay, so emails for boards, committees, commissions. At the December 4th meeting, we had a pretty in-depth conversation about it. And there were a couple of different ideas that were ultimately floated around at that meeting. Fundamentally, the goal that we're trying to accomplish here is to create a standardized way in which to communicate with our boards, committees, commission members. The first option that we would have on the table would simply be to direct people to use any sort of free email service, whether it be Google or Yahoo, create a personal email address that they use. The issue there is that it doesn't give us any level of control over those records to or from the individual. So if we would ever receive an open records request, it would be challenging to pull those. So we don't recommend that for that reason. The second option that was mentioned was to perhaps look at doing a third party such as Google Workspace, which would be a paid licensed service. So I looked into and I was able to find some numbers for Google Workspace. That would come out to $6 per user per month. And for just for the purposes of math here tonight, we have potentially up to 84 distinct email addresses for boards, committees, and commission members, not counting the village board. Now that's including all alternates, and that's including anyone who, if you don't have someone who's on multiple committees. Now, actually, I should amend this because a little bit of mea culpa here. This does not include 9 members. This is 9 members short of what it should be. So I might need to do a little bit more math there.
Well,
Oh yeah, you're right. 6 more members. So maybe, if you can keep track of that, add 6 members to that. The issue with that is I'm not 100% clear if a third party includes 2-factor authentication, which is a security measure that we're going to be implementing later this year for all staff anyway, and it is definitely something that we recommend as a best practice. I did reach out to Google and I never heard back from them. That was quite some time ago. And so 1, I don't know if it includes it, and 2, frankly, their lack of response is a little concerning if we were to ever have an issue. If this is their response to a potential sale, I don't want to know what it's like to customer support. So finally, that left us with kind of the most straightforward solution, which would be simply to expand our existing domain using our Microsoft Exchange account, the Waunakee at waunakee.com. So that comes out to, for just to have what's known as Exchange Online, which means you would access your email through a browser. You would not download and install any apps. You would only be able to access your email through a browser. That's $4 per month per user. And then to add 2-factor authentication, which again, we would recommend would be $3 per month per user, because we are using a little bit higher level one. And then I also added in there just an estimated cost to have our IT service provider manage that, because currently they are the ones who are set up to create and remove any new email accounts. I do not have that ability. I do have the ability to reset passwords, which some people are aware that I will very broadly do that if I sense the need to. But I do not have the ability to add or remove users. So we would, if we were to move forward with this, we'd be looking at about 75% of the estimated annual cost, because if we were to initiate this in April, I think it makes the most sense to just wait until after the election and then the appointments of the boards and committees. So we'd have about 75% of the total annual cost, but if you extrapolate that out to a whole year, it would be about $7,400. Again, we'd need to add the extra 6 in there. For the first year, it would be closer to about $5,600. And for the budget, it is not a budgeted item right now, so this would have to come out of the unassigned fund balance. It would be budgeted moving forward, but for 2024, that's where it would need to come from. Are there any questions?
All right. What questions, Erin?
Not a question. I just thanks for all your work on this. I know the committees I'm on are particularly excited about this for their business with the village.
Other comments or questions? Joe?
From an IT standpoint, I think the exchange option makes excellent sense. From the cost standpoint, I still choke a little bit.
Always is more expensive than we think, isn't it? Yeah. Go ahead, Tricia.
Yeah, I think adding another, I guess, variation into what you're already trying to manage here internally from a staff perspective would just be too cumbersome for the slight cost savings to do so. I think integrating it to what we already have just seems to make the most sense.
Right, other comments?
I appreciate that you're doing two-factor mandatory because there is a obscene amount of phishing, I think, that comes towards Waunakee.com. So I know that you'll probably run into somebody that will click it thinking that Kristen is asking them to pay an invoice.
People must think I'm super greedy. So why am I sending me an invoice yet? So-
You've given me 5 requests this past month.
Have
to pay
I?
an Invoice, yeah.
Well, why, and you haven't paid? So.
That at it.
I thought it starts, Robert, I need you to do me a favor on
Oh.
the down low.
Is that how
But
it
no
starts?
phone call, only email.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this has only ever happened to me in our email system that I'm aware of.
I
Yeah.
will say about this, it's too bad Brian's not here because this is going to make a village attorney very happy. I speculate, and I'll report back in a year, that our peer communities are going to both hate us and love us. Because no other community, big or little, in our county that we've researched does this for their committee members. Committee members are on their own. And this will certainly address every point of concern from a legal and open records perspective. But as Joe mentioned, it's not cheap. So not only we're putting the solution out there for the other communities, we're going to spend their money for them too. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is picked up on and is seen as a best practice for our peers.
All right. Other discussion?
I'll move to authorize the expanded use of the Waunakee.com email address through Microsoft Exchange at a cost of $7 per user per month with two-factor authentication and additional administrative costs for an estimated total of $5,592 in 2024 following the spring election and $7,356 each year thereafter.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Now we'll go to 5 and we'll discuss and take action on the selection of firm to complete the Waunakee Area Fire Department organizational review and future needs analysis. Robert, is that you or is that you, Todd?
I can start with Todd.
All
Oh,
right.
okay. At the direction of the board, we issued an RFP for services to perform an operational review of the fire department district and review options going forward for sustaining the district. We received, I believe it was 6 proposals.
9.
Was it 9?
Ultimately.
Okay, yeah, so we definitely got responses to that. We did interview 2 of those firms. I would thank Robert and Nyla both for independently reviewing all 9 and providing
I lied. It was 6. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm not.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I have a pounding headache. I'm so
Still on a
sorry.
9-member committee from
Yeah, that's
earlier.
probably where I got it from.
So we interviewed an upside down 9 firms. No, of the 6, Robert and Nyla independently reviewed those 6, helped staff whittle that down to 2 firms, which interviewed with us. That interview panel included a few staff members and Nyla as well. We appreciated that input. The firm that we're recommending as a result of that process is McMahon. Robert Whitaker, Chief Whitaker is with us with McMahon. He's also the fire chief for the North Shore Fire Department. He received some sort of award for sticking through the whole meeting here with us. And I'm sure ready and able to answer any questions you might have. Their proposal, McMahon's proposal, was included in your packet. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions. And Robert or Nyla, if either of you want to add some context, feel free.
I just want to say that we did our due diligence. We did the interview. We went through all the information that was sent to us. And I think McMahon will do a good job and meet the needs of the village. And we want to do the best that we can because we're looking at the future of the fire district and it affects a lot of people.
Thank you. Robert, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I again want to thank staff and Todd for getting it started, and staff for doing the meeting, Nyla for attending the interview there. There were 6 very good RFPs. It was surprising how much response that the village got to it. I want to stress, because I'm told that some of the other municipalities watch these videos, that this is also for the benefit of everybody that's in the fire district. It's not just for the village of Waunakee, although we are the ones that are paying for the RFP. And the cost may cause some to have a pause. As Nyla indicated, this is about the future of the fire district. The village is a lot larger than when the district was originally formed in the 90s. And so things have changed a lot since then, and we need to have a good outside look at how the district is comprised, what our future growth would look like, giving the board, the fire district board, some guidance. I think we're going to learn through this process that there's certain things that, not because the board didn't care, but just as they got bigger, they didn't think about from governance perspectives over how the fire district works, and how its employee is, the treatment that we give to the one district employee that we have. So I cannot stress enough, we're going to learn some things from this, but we are going to share them with the other communities, and hopefully we will use it to move forward in a very positive way.
All right. And thank you both for the work that you're doing, and the rest of the fire board, and of course our firefighters as well. This is important for us to understand what we need to do to support the fire department going forward. Other questions or comments? We have Tricia.
Just a question, whether it's for Robert or Nyla or Todd. When you were reviewing these and making the recommendation, what really stood out for you with McMahon?
You should start because you actually interviewed.
The total project and everything that it encompasses. They would do a more complete analysis in a few areas than what the other public administration associates did. And we were very fortunate that we had very good information sent to us from many companies, and we got to cut it down to 2. And we did McMahon because we felt that they would do not only a thorough job, but they would give us a few extras that we will probably need before we're finished with the project.
For me, I liked that it was a reasonably local company. We had quite a few national firms respond, so it was good because Wisconsin has very specific Wisconsin needs when it comes to fire districts and public safety. They seemed much more focused specifically onto safety services and EMS, all of them, if you really wanted to spend time going through it, all of them talk about like the codes that they'll review as a part of it. And not every firm that responded mentioned that they would cover the codes that like McMahon did. So it stood out as this is a firm that really wants to focus on this area as opposed to maybe a more generalized government consulting.
Another thing that stood out for me with McMahon is they, as Robert said, they are a Wisconsin company. so they know Wisconsin weather. And Wisconsin weather, I think, is like no other. So it's important that they know what the firemen go through, what our equipment how it has to be able to perform in cold weather or hot weather or whatever comes up. And that was important to me. And I know it was important to Robert too.
I can add that, my experience with the firm and Robert, prior to, it was a few years ago that, another firm merged with McMahon. Was that RW, W Management? What was the name of the,
Correct, RW Management.
happens to be your initials? Is that? just
My
by
initials, but I had nothing to do with the company until I got hired by them.
Yeah, it's funny, Robert,
Right.
when I was a little baby assistant village manager in Brown Deer, Robert was a little baby captain for the North Shore Fire Department, and we worked across the street from one another.
Oh, wow.
So, but anyway, aside that, when RW Management made public safety agencies their clear specialty in the state of Wisconsin, and they added resources and bolstered capacity by merging with McMahon, but they have really put that stake in the ground in Wisconsin. And if you were to look, and I'm sure you did, look at the list of clients for which they've performed this specific work, you can't find another company with that depth of Wisconsin-based experience to perform this sort of work.
Other questions? Sam? Nope. Karen? Joe?
Maybe a quick question for Robert. Timing on the project, assuming we, put ink on the page here today, when do you hope to sort of mobilize and start a process here? And then what's your expectation for completion?
We could start in the next week or two, or as quick as you would like, at least to get meetings on the calendar and get names together to schedule things. Ready to go as pretty much as soon as possible. And I would say we should be done no more than the 5 months that we put in the proposal.
All right. Excellent. All right. Seeing no other discussion or questions, I'll make a move to approve the proposal from McMahon for completion of the organizational review and future needs analysis of the Waunakee Area Fire Department to be funded using ARPA funds, and authorize the village administrator to execute the scope of work agreement between the village and McMahon.
I'll second it.
Right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right,
Thanks, Robert.
thank you.
Thank you.
Move
Thank
to
you,
adjourn.
Robert, Nyla, and staff for all of the work on this and everything else. It's been a big agenda tonight. Cut a little bit short by Brian's absence, but it appears we can either hang around and chat or we can have one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. See you all in 2 weeks.